A24 is probably the only movie studio that I know of that's picked up a cult following all their own. Their brand has become one of the most trusted among discerning film fans, with them delivering a slew of interesting, provocative movies that really fit all genres. In some ways, they're a throwback to an older kind of filmmaking, in that they've never focused on chasing franchises and have always been focused on filmmakers as the most important thing. They've taken risks and it's paid off more than it hasn't. However, their latest film, Civil War, is arguably their riskiest movie to date, sporting their biggest budget, which is north of $50 million, and subject matter that could be seen as a bit of a political powder keg. For me, it marks Alex Garland's most ambitious and perhaps his best work as a director yet. Civil War, while a war film, is likely scarier than anything you're going to see in a movie theater this year. Indeed, Garland's depiction of a fractured America half destroyed by war is unsettling in a way that hits too close to home. While many have taken issue with the fact that it would center around Texas and California joining forces to take on the rest of the country, which is led by a fascist president played by Nick Offerman, there's a reason for this. Garland has strategically paired a notoriously red state and a notoriously blue one, so that his war isn't painted as one party against another. If anything, the film is a desperate plea that we both find some common ground, as the war is presented as a tragedy rife with atrocities on both sides, with neither side being racially homogenous. Garland's film costs about $50 million, but it looks like it costs at least twice that, with this jam-packed with visceral action sequences that look especially impressive on an IMAX screen. The story is told through a group of embedded journalists, none of whom are presented with any explicit bias. Many of the battle sequences are shot in a way that makes it confusing which side is which, serving the movie's ultimate purpose, which is to depict the tragedy of a civil war that finds fellow citizens killing their own. Kirsten Dunst is probably her best role to date as Lee, a burnt-out photographer who's dulled herself to the chaos she sees around her so much that none of it registers as much more than an opportunity to take a photo. Her humanity is somewhat rekindled when her Reuters colleague Joel, played by Wagner Moura, a hotshot addicted to the adrenaline rush of the job, invites a young photographer to join them on the road as they drive from New York to Washington, D.C., where they've been promised to sit down with the president himself. Kaylee Spenny's Jessie, who's the young person along for the ride, is shown to be reckless and green with no survival instinct at all, leading to Lee taking her under her wing. The three are joined by Stephen McKinley Henderson's Sammy, who's dead set on covering the war until its end, despite his age and mobility issues. Most of the film centers around their violent cross-country odyssey. Each town they visit puts them in the line of fire as they encounter vigilantes, reckless journalists, war deniers, and a dangerously unhinged soldier in the movie's standout scene, played by a terrific Jesse Plemons in a small but really memorable role. Dunst's portrayal is believable, with her fitting the portrait of a former hotshot celebrity journalist that's been worn down by the job to a T. Looking believably tired and worn, she always holds your sympathy and makes her an ideal companion on this cinematic journey into the inferno. The film seems heavily inspired by Haskell Wexler's Medium Cool, with her performance similar in some ways to Robert Forster's in that film.
How can I go out and cover a story? It's a wonder more cameras haven't been smashed.
In that she's become so indifferent to the chaos around her that nothing registers anymore. Spaney is tasked with playing her opposite, with her being a live wire that feels everything, which constantly puts her in danger. Meanwhile, Henderson's Sammy is the voice of reason, while Mora's hotshot Joel is the reckless one who, at one point, admits that a firefight happening near them is making him hard. Garland shoots the film in a way that presents some graphic imagery, like a man being set on fire, in a shockingly matter-of-fact way. It'll be an experience many will find hard to shake, with Rob Hardy's IMAX visuals helping make this one of the most visceral and immersive films in recent years. It's all complemented by a terrific score by composers Ben Salisbury and Portishead's Jeff Barrow. It also contains some unique and powerful needle drops, including ironic use of De La Soul and 2 songs by the punk band Suicide. It'll be interesting to see how general audiences react to Civil War, as it's controversial by design. It's asking us to take a long, hard look at what's happening around us and demanding that we look beyond politics and recognize what we have in common rather than what we don't. It's a plea for peace that, like other movies of this nature, notably the apocalyptic drama The Day After, dares to show us hell in the hope of keeping it from ever happening. Better to see it in a film than to experience it ourselves. I give this one a very powerful 9 out of 10.